there's a few things that everybody missed yesterday. There's a lot of news from Florida and taking away the mandates, from RFK lowering the standards, quote unquote lowering the standards. Now we have a different interpretation, but lowering the standards of making sure that we're not just giving these things away, to where you start seeing Congress and Senate who are pretty much paid off start turning on this administration, turning on freedom. Also, you see a Democrat senator state that rules in life and the guidance, freedom, all that's not based on your unalienable rights of God. God didn't give that to us, is what he said. He said that's only by government. He says if you say God, that's almost like what Iran does. There's a difference starting to take place, starting to shape and fold, that you're starting to realize these people do not support you and do not like you. We're also going to discuss the Epstein release yesterday, the people going to the Capitol. And yes, I, of course, want to make sure these people get justice, but one thing that we're not doing is getting justice. We're talking a big talk. Thomas Massie, who I personally did like, I think is grandstanding, because he didn't do this in Obama, he didn't do this in Biden just against Trump. Those people the other day wasn't saying, those people yesterday weren't talking about Bill Clinton or Prince Andrew. All those signs dealt with the president. And it's amazing they didn't do this during Biden or Obama. Now, should they be released? Absolutely. But grandstanding and political theater is only against Trump. We're going to talk about how these Senate and congressmen are starting to manipulate you, and you keep voting for them. We're also going to talk about China. China unveiled a lot yesterday in the military parade over the last few days, and all this stuff is starting to come out. I think what they were showing is, look, we're going to show our force, and not only that, we're going to bring all our friends close to us, and that's what they did. They had a monster showing of leaders against the West yesterday. I think what they're showing is Taiwan is next, and you better stay away from it. We're going to discuss all this and a few more stories. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here. If you are new, please go in here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. Now let's talk about some of the things we missed yesterday. And I think the majority missed because the news just somehow clouds our judgment and we just believe whatever we're told. Now let's first talk about this Epstein situation yesterday. I actually love Thomas Massie for his freedom and American first mentality. However, I'm going to say this. A lot of the grandstanding that Thomas Massie does, and again, as a Thomas Massie supporter now, I want to make sure you understand that, but a lot of the grandstanding he does is not absolutely for freedom or for justice. It's just a nail on the chair of President Trump. These two men they don't like each other. That's okay. You don't have to like everybody. But to say that Thomas Massie is not America first is wrong. I mean, he is definitely America first. But to say that he's actually working for the American people, no, I think he's actually just trying to work against Trump. Why do I say that? Well, I think political theater is how all Congress and Senate is ran. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But yesterday, you had liberal attorneys there. Every sign, if you go back and watch the signage, don't miss this. All the signs dealt with Trump only. It was really a degradation of Trump. Now, I want to read something that I thought was absolutely excellent by this attorney, and I don't know who he's attorney for, but I want to read two statements he made. Now, the first statement he made was this. These victims, while you have seen the documents, you've not seen all the documents. When you see them, you will be appalled. The American people deserves to see everything. Evil flourishes in darkness. If you care about these women, about the country, and about the issues, you should pass, and we should see these documents with flying colors. Absolutely. I'm in full agreement there. I believe we should see every bit of this, no matter who is thrown under the bus. Do I believe that Trump may be on the list of the island thing? No, I don't. I do believe that he probably had ties to him with a lot of other business ventures in New York, which I believe most of the elite billionaires probably did too. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Let's just go through the list and see. But what else did this attorney say that no one caught? Listen to what he said. He says, President Trump has absolutely secretly helped by trying to take down Epstein since 2009. He says, Trump supplied investigators with critical information that advanced their cases. He said he doesn't get credit for that, but he actually did do this. He said he added that Trump was never a suspect and now wants him to release everything. Now, he's wanting Trump to release everything. He's pushing Trump to release everything, like he said in the first clip. But what he also said was, since 2009, Trump has actually helped us. Since we've talked about this, he's actually given us more people for support of these ladies. Now, that's far indifferent from what we're hearing from all these Democratic operatives and all the mainstream media. This is the attorney for one of the Epstein victims. This is the attorney that just said he wants to release. And he says we should support Thomas Massie, but he did say Trump has never been a suspect, and he's not the one we're looking for here. But everybody missed that. Did you see that part? Most of them cut off from that part. They didn't talk about that. Now, do I believe there's probably some shady business dealings with all these people? I honestly do not believe you can become a multimillionaire, decamillionaire, centimillionaire, or billionaire without some shadiness. Does it make it right? I'm just telling you, I honestly believe that kind of wealth, you're going to pull some strings you probably shouldn't have pulled. And I think that you're going to expose a lot of that probably through Epstein and through some of the intelligence. But here's the thing. I don't think it has anything to do with the airplane situation going to the island. That's the part that needs to be exposed, and that's the part that we need to make sure that gets open and shed light on. Because what we're going to realize, I think, is what's going to scare me the most is that our government knew it was happening. They saw it happening. They may even helped it happen to get information, and that is pure evil. I think that's what Trump is hiding. I don't believe Trump is on this island list. But I believe he knows who is, and I believe he knows that the government's intentions were horrific in this whole situation. That's what I believe. Do they believe he's a double agent through all these other agencies? Probably so. I believe they all had hands in it and they knew what was happening and they did nothing about it. That's the part that I think people are missing. Everybody wants to blame Trump to say he's on the list. I don't believe it has anything to do with Trump on the list. Of this list, the island list, I believe he just knows the CIA, the Mossad, the MI6, all these people, they knew about it. And that's the crazy thing. It's the pure evil behind it because they were willing to hurt people to get information. That's a big deal. We're going to dive into the healthcare thing because this is where you come to freedom and responsibility. But before we do, we're going to talk about another healthcare thing, and it's still in with Chapter. If you are 65 and older, or about to be, Chapter is here for you. This number below, call this number below. They're going to help. They're going to advise. They check all the plans across the United States and they find the ones that are best for you. Now here's the thing, when you call them, you're going to spend 15-20 minutes on the phone call, and guess what? It's free. It costs you nothing. If they help you or if they don't, it's $0. $0. The purpose is when you call, they know what helps you and the plan that best benefits you. They don't have an opinion like a lot of your buddies and friends back at home. They don't have an insurance salesman trying to sell you on the phone. Here's the thing. They just want to help you and guide you to the right plan. Average American saves $1,100. We've had several cases where people have saved a few $100s, and we've had some that saved over the $1,100 into the $1,200, $1,300 range. It's all because they took the chance and called. All I want you to do is call. It costs you nothing. If they can't help you, great. That means you're on the best plan, period. But if they can help you, you're going to save a substantial amount of money. And at 65 years old or older, when money's tight, this actually is a good thing. So check with Chapter today. Let them help you with Medicare and making sure you get what's right for you. Now, talking about medicine and healthcare, let's go through a few things. There's been 1,000 HHS employees signing demanding RFK resign. Here's where I want to get very, very personal, and this is where I believe you have rotten senators and congressmen. Now, everybody on the Trump side, the Lindsey Grahams, the Kennedys, all these people, all the senators, Congress, John Thune, Johnson, all these people, they're all quote-unquote Trump supporters. But I want you to listen to this. Now, this is a gentleman who, of course, is a major supporter of Trump, they say, from Louisiana, John Kennedy. He says this on RFK. He says, "We need to restore confidence, and so far I don't see it with Secretary Kennedy. He's not done anything to help that. All I see is multiple vehicles piling up on the road, and I don't think he's done anything to restore confidence." Now, this is different from when he supported Trump and supported RFK. Here's the thing, though. RFK started cutting a lot of this extra funding. RFK started, basically, giving the single finger to Big Pharma. That is what is happening. And I guess now some of these senators and Congress are starting to feel the heat from the lobbies. And now they're starting to turn. This is what I say about lawfare and about these Congress and Senate. They're all demonic and evil. I know you think they're here to help you. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, everybody thought she was a juggernaut for Trump. I've never liked this lady. Just like Nancy Mason. These people are so narcissistic. Everyone in Senate and Congress typically are narcissistic guys who couldn't make it in any other way. So therefore, they try to haggle you, get elected, and they make tons of money on themselves and actually do nothing for you. I mean, just let's go back in history for the last 60 years. What has Congress and Senate done for you other than overregulate you, overtax you, spend your money, and not do nothing for you? Give a few roads and bridges and a few college grants for you. That's it. Other than that, they've taken plumb advantage of you. All of a sudden now, John Kennedy comes out and says, well, we don't really actually support RFK anymore. We believe he should have to go because he's actually not helping build back trust. He's absolutely building back trust. You know why? Here's the thing. Let's go to Florida right quick because this is the most important thing out of this whole conversation when it comes to all this going on with medicine. And I thought PBD said it best. But anyways, it came out that the Florida Surgeon General, Joseph Ladapo, said that the state is going to eliminate all vaccine mandates. Now, the people went crazy in the audience. Every last one of them is wrong and drips into the disdain of slavery, meaning we're not going to do the mandates. Now, people are up in arms. I'm talking about people are going absolutely crazy to a point of disregarding his law, his medical degree, disregarding DeSantis' law degree. Also going against Kennedy on this and saying all we're doing is we're going to hurt the children, hurt the children, hurt the children. This is such a flipping lie. You know why? They didn't say they were banning them. They didn't say they were taking them away. They just said they're not going to make people get these in their arm. Make the children get this in their arm. What they're going to do is give people choice again. Isn't it amazing how liberals and Democrats want choice for some things and then they want to just absolutely just terrify your children with all these things? What they're trying to do is give parents the rights again. Now, the rights should have always been the parents because we've been given to them from above. Now, before we go any further with this, listen to what this Democrat said to Ted Cruz, and then Ted Cruz rebounds with another comment. Listen to this.
The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the creator, that's what the Iranian government believes. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling.
So Senator Kaine said in this hearing that he found it a radical and dangerous notion that you would say our rights came from God and not from government. I just walked into the hearing as he was saying that, and I almost fell out of my chair because that radical and dangerous notion, in his words, is literally the founding principle upon which the United States of America was created. And if you do not believe me, and you made reference to this, Mr. Barnes, then you can believe perhaps the most prominent Virginian to ever serve, Thomas Jefferson, who wrote in the Declaration of Independence, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator. Not by government, not by the Democratic National Committee, but by God."
So who gives us the rights? Is it God or government? Do you see what happens here? They get so powerful. These politicians on both sides get so powerful that they think they are God. They think they have every right to take from you. And all Florida was doing was giving the right back to the parent. And now they're asking for his resignation, asking for Kennedy's resignation, saying DeSantis should be censured. This is the world we're living in, where people don't want to take responsibility. They want the government to do it all for us. And that's what that Democrat just said. Please, people, you have to take responsibility and independence again. What we're doing is we're fixing to create hard times for our children and grandchildren. Now, if you love your kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, you better be responsible and stand up. Every time in history when there had to be people rise up, those people rose up took the initiative, took responsibility because they wanted better for their children and grandchildren. What we've missed out on is we're now saying we want government to have all the answers, which they don't, but we're saying we want them to have all the answers, and what they're doing is saying, you don't need the God, we are the God. That's exactly what he just said. He literally said that. And now, Dr. Joseph came from Florida saying, all we want to do is just let the parents decide. The parents should have a responsibleness to go talk to their doctor, and if they come to the concurrence that this doctor and their decision is right, then utilize the medicines there. But if they feel like they're not, they shouldn't be ostracized, and their children shouldn't be threatened to take away from them by the state. We're getting the rights back to the people again. That is golden. But what it's done is turn people away from Trump. What it's done is turn people away from conservatism. What it's done is turn people away from freedom to a point where now everybody's blaming these people instead of actually seeing the good that they're doing when it comes to freedom. Yesterday, Rand Paul, again, a libertarian who I typically would support, he's getting bought out. Because why? He was like, I don't think we should have bombed that boat from Venezuela. Trump was wrong. So what are you saying, Rand Paul? You want the drugs to come here? Is it because you're a libertarian, you believe that everybody should just be able to take their drugs if they want to? Help me understand that. See, here's what they do. This is what Congress and Senate do. And this is how they just absolutely bald-faced lie to you. They will play both sides of the fence when it benefits them. When the wind's blowing one way, they're going to play that way because they want the vote. When the wind's blowing the other way, they're going to play that way because they want the vote. I laughed yesterday because Thomas Massey is standing up there with Gloria Allred, who is a liberal feminist who is always there for, she's kind of like the Ben Crump and the Al Sharpton of the women movement. Me Too all the way. And then Chip Roy was with AOC talking about the same situation with millionaires in Senate, and they shouldn't be there, and millionaires in Congress shouldn't be there, and every one of them are filthy rich. It's all them being evil and having power over you. Let's go back to what Tim Kaine just said. You don't need the God. Government gives you power and control. Government gives you freedom. When we start thinking like that, we're a fallen nation, people. We're a fallen nation. Now, I'm sorry to get kind of ranty this morning, but I just get sick of politicians. For instance, I'm going to tell you this. It chatted me off this week. So, this week I got to notice that my property tax is going to go up because they're wanting to spend more money at the school systems, on some of the roads and bridges, which is always such a crock of crap, and give some more money to education, and some of the sheriff and police needs more stuff. I mean, like, they were talking about cars and all this list of junk. So my millage rate and my taxes are going to go up. Now, granted, I already pay a lot. And then I get a letter from the sheriff and the police, who I really like. I like the chief, like the sheriff, about how they're starting a new foundation and that they're wanting us to give to this foundation to help them buy the things that the government is not helping them buy. I have a problem with that. And I voiced my concern with a lot of other people in my community. I said, if they're taking more money from me, but then the foundations are saying, no, they don't have enough money, then where's my flipping money going? Can we not make it on a good budget anymore? Do we have to take from people and then rob them the other way, and then we charge them inflation too? So I was like, I'm not giving the foundation. I don't care if it's tax incentive or not, because you're already taking it. This goes back to the point of what Ladapo just did in Florida. If you're going to mandate me to take this, why do I want to keep on taking them? But if you're going to give me the choice, then let me have the choice to give or not. If we as a nation can't make it on the taxes they're already pulling from us, then there's the spending problem. And it may be that there's 800, 900, 1,000 people in the House of Representatives with all their clerks and with them themselves that's taking our money. 50% of people in the United States has some kind of funding from the government. If it be pensions, if it be retirements, if it be Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, or if it be direct pay from them because they're an agent or contractor or worker for the government. That means the government may be too flippin' big. It may be too big. I laugh when people talk about the defense budget. How it's just too much. We pay too much. $1 trillion. It could be too much. But we're paying $3 trillion for welfare. So if you really want to cut something, I don't think defense would be what I'd cut. I'd probably cut all the welfare benefits, the SNAP benefits, or make it so hard to where people are realizing they have to work. Make it sunrise and sunset, meaning they have to get a job at some point in time if they can work. Make work requirements. Do drug tests with that. I think you start cleaning it up then. Our problem is the government. I don't like Ted. I'm not the biggest Ted Cruz fan, but he kind of made a point there. He said, you know, if we want freedom and less control, it comes from God. Everything that we have is from God. Our rights are from God. Too bad government's trying to take that from us. I love what Florida is doing. I love what the Surgeon General said. I actually like what RFK is doing on some things, and I like what Trump is doing here with deregulation. Did you know he has cut hundreds of thousands of jobs out of the federal government since he's been in office? That's, to me, more important than just about anything, because our federal government is too big. Last story I want to go to, and the reason I want to bring this up is because, again, I think this should just tell us, stay in our own lane. Let's focus on America. I love the thing that we're doing with Venezuela and the cartels. I actually do, because it's protecting Americans. This has nothing to do with us taking over these countries. It just means we're trying to protect our hemisphere and the people that's causing problems for our people, the Americans. So I actually like that. But here's what I want to bring up. China publicly showcased its first nuclear triad, land, sea, and air, with the parade that they had. They also released several different weapons that no one knew about. 11 weapons that never has been seen by the public. Military messages are showing that China has built a whopping amount of power. Now, you know Taiwan is probably coming soon. What I think what we should be doing in America is building up our GPUs, working on our chips, learning how to have independence with medicines and pharma and prescriptions, because there are people that do need them, learning how to not depend on cheap junk from China, and don't worry about the Far East. Now, why do I say that? Do I want anyone to get hurt in wars? No. But like the Ukraine debacle, I don't believe we should be spending hundreds of billions of dollars over in these countries when we have no leg to stand on and no reason to do it when we don't need them. That may be narcissistic, selfish, and rude. Do I want to help people? Yes, but we don't have to help them by trying to fund their wars against whatever the situation is. I like what Trump was doing with Azerbaijan, Armenia, with Pakistan and India, and what he's trying to do with Russia and Ukraine. I believe if we can stay out of it completely, then putting pressure on people to have peace is where we shine, where Trump shines. Not funding the sides of the war and then trying to bring peace. That's what we've done for so long. The game plan we've done with Congress, with Senate, with our government has not worked. It's put you in piles of debt. It's put you in war-torn, the fatigue, to be honest with you, because nobody wants to send their kids to war. Your money has been wasted. You're living paycheck to paycheck. So why don't we try something different? Why don't we actually try having a leader that cares about his people? Why don't we actually try to find some people that go to Congress that are common working class? I love when AOC said that yesterday. She was like, we want working class people in the Senate and Congress. I want them to poll the Congress and Senate, and you see how many millionaires are in there. That doesn't represent the working class, does it? Get these people out of office. If they've been in there for 2 or 3 terms, that's 2 or 3 terms too many, because they've made themselves filthy rich and not helped you do anything other than take your money. It's time to primary these people. And here's the thing. I don't think you need to change them out for another politician. Look, nothing against Ken Paxton for the AG, and now he's going to run against Cornyn, but it's just you're taking Cornyn establishment Republican out and putting another, maybe a little less establishment, but pretty much still a politician his whole life. Why don't we find the farmer? Why don't we find the welder, the plumber? Why don't we find a businessman who could care less to stay in Washington for a long time? That's what I think we need. We need not career politicians. We need people who are representing the working class. That's what we need. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video, because what you're seeing is all this establishment is turning against Trump, Kennedy, and the administration, turning against people like DeSantis and Ladapo, who's trying to give you the freedom back. We need to pay attention. Independence and responsibility is a very good thing. But for some reason, some people don't want responsibility and independence. They want the government to do it for them. Well, sadly, if that's what they want, they don't need to live here, because we want freedom. Guys, let me know your thoughts today. God bless.